Good evening. I am Jitendra Joshi, Vice President, Reasoning Global E-Applications Limited, and your host for the evening. I welcome all of you to first ever Etailing Conclave in India. Over the past few months, I have been in touch with several retailers and brand owners who have recently launched or are planning to launch an e-commerce initiative. After understanding various challenges faced by them, Reasoning initiated the thought of developing an ecosystem, which was supported by Google, HDFC Bank, and Aramex. I am really excited with the focus and energy around e-commerce, and I really think that the landscape of online commerce is about to change in India. But there is a perception that the e-commerce is not really picking up in India, that companies are struggling to scale up their offerings. There is no question that the overall market is still pretty small in terms of numbers. But however, projection shows that we will be reaching 20,000 crores of e-commerce revenue this year, that is including travel, and 2,500 crore will be Etail. We should not ignore that all factors are moving in favor of e-commerce. Retail is getting more and more organized. Availability of global brands is larger than ever. Internet penetration is climbing. Most importantly, and I can personally attest to this one, there are focused brands and retailers who have recently launched new ventures and are passionate about making big difference in the e-commerce space in India. We have two such retailers with us, Mr. Rajiv Prakash, Chief Executive Officer, Future Bazaar, and Mr. Prashant Lahoti, Managing Director, Access to Future. They will be sharing their experience with us in panel discussion later in the evening. I remain highly optimistic about all the e-commerce opportunities that are there in Indian market. I am hoping that this conclave will demonstrate all the excitement and energy that is currently going on and would inspire potential retailers who are currently sitting on the fence and to join this wave of transformation. Today, we will be covering all four major aspects of e-tailing ecosystem, that is technology, online payment processing and acceptance, promotions, and logistics. Our first session, How Consumers Search and Shop, will be presented by Saurabh Chandra. Saurabh is a product manager with Google India. At Google, he leads the SMB marketing efforts and focus on introducing Google AdWords to small and medium business. Saurabh has done his MBA from ISB Hyderabad, where he was on Dean's list. He is a BTech as well as MTech from IIT Mumbai. Please welcome Saurabh Chandra.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time out to come to this Etailing Conclave. What I want to talk to you about is the magnificence and the beauty of the internet, the size of the consumer interest that we see in the internet, what exactly is happening on the internet, and what you can do to reach out to these folks who are on the internet. Let me just dive into it. The first question is, how big is the internet? And by the internet, we can actually talk about two big revolutionary media platforms that are happening at this point. There's the internet of the PC, but there's obviously also the mobile internet, which is growing at as big or, which is growing at as fast a pace as the internet PC. Here's how big it is. There are 130 million internet users in India. If you look at it from the perspective of a billion plus of population, maybe that sounds a bit smaller. But what we also need to understand is that it's probably the most lucrative part of the population, which is already online. The other interesting part about the internet as well as the mobile internet is how fast they're growing. What we see is that traditional media like radio and TV took tens of years to reach a critical mass of 50 million users. The internet did that in 7 years, mobile did that in 3 years. So you can see that the rate of growth is extremely big. The other question that often comes to mind about the internet is whether it's a very niche phenomenon, whether it's related only to certain SEC categories, whether it's related only to certain metropolitan areas. What we see based on our research is that's not really true. Over the last year or so, what we've seen is that the percentage of people who come online from the smaller cities has actually overtaken the internet population of the metropolitan cities. So the internet is actually a nationwide phenomenon with humongous reach at this point. So is the mobile. I don't want to go into the particular details and the numbers, but almost half our population does have some kind of mobile access at this point. Furthermore, there are a lot of users, almost 20% of them, who are using data at this point. And a lot of them are actually on the mobile internet looking for things and at some point probably purchasing things. So the question is, yes, there are a lot of people on the internet. There is a lot of time spent on the internet. What exactly are people doing online? That's, I think, a key question for us to answer. Research indicates that the biggest activity that people do online is search, whether it's for information, products, entertainment, but search is a key component of internet activity for most people. The other big activity that is of key interest to us is research. So research not just for information, but for product purchases. So there's a huge phenomena of there's a huge phenomena of research happening online and purchase happening offline. So what you see on this page is a research that Google conducted where we tried to find out what percentage, what it basically tried to find out is how does online research and offline research and online purchase and offline purchase play against each other? How does that break out? And we found that only about 13% of all transactions happen purely offline, in the sense that someone looks for a product offline and buys a product offline, just 13%. The rest, there is a significant component of online research happening, if not online purchase also. So people are actually, even before they walk into your shop front, they are looking at your products, they are researching the product online, and at some level they're also going ahead and buying the product online. So it's key for retailers to be present not only from an information perspective, but also from a transaction perspective. The loop needs to be closed as, the earlier the better. If we wait for research to be run online and then the purchase to happen offline, there's that much more leakage that's going to happen. This is another interesting statistic that we came up with. The amount of time people are searching online, researching for products, is almost equal to the time that they're spending in your store. Again, a very interesting facet of the online behavior that people are doing at this point. The ingoing hypothesis used to be that people do a cursory research online, just basically figure out a place to go, and then it's the look and feel of the product. It's actually being able to see the product which is helping them buy the product. But what we now see is that there's a kind of balance working out in terms of information that people are looking online at. This could be information put up by the retailer, put up by the brand, or even user-generated content. So reviews, people are giving a lot of attention to reviews and reading that very thoroughly, even before they walk into the shop front and make a decision about what to purchase and what not to purchase. Given that we understand that our consumers are online, the key question now is how do we reach out to them? And I'm going to talk about the way you could reach out to them using Google. Because the key to most online behavior ends up being search. I guess most of you would have observed this for yourself, but almost every website sees a huge amount of traffic coming through people who search for that website, or search for the product, or search for that information, and then come to that website. So it is very key that we have a presence on the search, that we have a presence at the point of search for the user. This is how it looks like. I know all of you must have done this kind of search at some point, but just to give some deeper understanding of how it really works is this. When someone searches for an LCD TV online, what you see, which you see highlighted in green, is the organic search results. So algorithmically, Google goes back and mines all the websites that it has looked at, and then surfaces those websites which it finds to be very relevant to your search terms. So if you're searching for LCD TVs, based on the algorithm, we look at all the websites and see which website has the most relevant information about LCD TVs, and that's how we rank the websites and put them on the search engine, on the search result page. But what is also interesting are these sponsored links that you see. Again, the philosophy remains the same, that of relevance. When someone's searching for an LCD TV, we'll do our best to surface results, to surface ads for products which are related to LCD TVs. So we'll feature ads only for websites which actually have LCD TVs to sell or information about them. However, for these sponsored results, you can actually influence how they look and how they and how you target them to different users. So, for example, if you look at these snippets, what you'll see is that each of these snippets has not been aggregated by Google, but has actually been constructed by whoever is the marketing person owning that account for that website. This is how big the online interest expressed, the interest in products expressed online is. What we have here is the amount of searches done for LCD TVs. LCD TVs being a fairly high ticket size item, not something of cursory interest. And what we see is that India has one of the highest search volumes for LCD TVs worldwide. So there are people who are looking for LCD TVs. It's almost key for us to be able to talk to them via our websites, via our ads, and be able to close the transaction as soon as possible while they're still looking for it. That's about how you can reach consumers online. There are obviously other channels through which this can be done online. Social media marketing is one of them. There are other products from Google and from other providers that can be used. But the sum and substance is that this is an opportunity which cannot be let go that easily. What we can do as Google to help you get started is that we put together a starter package for all small and medium businesses who are looking to get online. You can contact us at our call center, and what we basically do is demystify that internet marketing experience. We'll run the product for you and ensure that you get a good result out of it. So I took some time to talk to you about how big the internet is, what people are doing online, and what you can do to reach those people when they're online. But the key message that, if there's one key message that I'd want you to take away from this, it's that it is essential that people be online. There is no running away from that. It's something that needs to be done sooner than later, today rather than tomorrow. And one very interesting example that we at Google really like is this taxi driver in Lucknow who put up this small YouTube video, I think it's about a minute and a half, where he talks about what he does, gives his contact details, and what you'll see very interestingly is that he has 15,000 views as of last year and 30,000 views as of this year. So here's this guy who took maybe an hour to put together a very small video, nothing scripted about it, no effort, pretty much no effort, no support that went into it. And he has 30,000 people looking for and reading his message and listening to his message. That, I think, represents a huge opportunity for someone who would typically not be able to go beyond a standard leaflet or a pamphlet stuck at a railway station or the airport. That's the kind of opportunity that we want to talk about today. And I'll hand over to Etail to talk about what can be done in this space further.